everyone is talking about how AI is taking jobs, even HR jobs, especially HR jobs inside of a small business. And today I thought I would talk about why I don't think that is true, or at least why I don't think it should be true. AI should not be taking HR jobs, especially inside of a small business. I thought I would do a series of experiments with ChatGPT. I'm going to enter 3 prompts. One would be in a novice HR manager voice, one in an intermediate HR manager voice, and then one in an expert HR manager voice, and just see what ChatGPT spits out. And if there's anything in my 20 plus years of experience, it's a long time, I would do differently or I would add to make the answer more thorough. So let's try. Okay, so let's start with a basic complaint, but one that could be scary if you are a novice HR individual or not even an HR individual at all. And this is having an employee come to you and say that they have a harassment complaint. So somebody is harassing them, they are crying about it, it has really upset them. Let's see what ChatGPT thinks we should do to handle this complaint. So after a second, it spits out that you have this immediate response, which of course is a human one. Offer them tissues, be calm. I feel like even as a novice or non-HR person, you're gonna know to comfort the person. They're upset. You're probably not just gonna rush them out your office. Then it says to make sure that they understand their safety, that there's no retaliation. So that's good. I appreciate that it shared that. Clarifying those boundaries about you not needing every detail. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that you do need as many details as they can remember in that moment because that's when it's fresh. Yes, talk them through what should happen next. The things that it's missing here is that you want to make sure you are asking about anybody, any witnesses, anybody who saw this. If we're talking about a serious harassment like assault or, something that's really egregious, then we need to remove that person from the property. We may need to get the police involved. So while it gives you a very high level answer, I'm not sure that it gives you every single detail that's going to be important. If this is truly an egregious harassment complaint, that could potentially take you into a lawsuit. It does mention having a policy, which is important, but I do think there are definitely some steps missing here that is not going to help you really investigate this thoroughly. Okay, next example. One of the ways that I love to use AI is for document creation. I don't want to have to start from scratch, so I love to ask it to create documents. But you have to be able to apply experience to whatever is happening. So here I've just done a simple termination letter for an underperforming employee, and ChatGPT spits out a pretty good letter. It asks about state law, reminds you to look at your final paycheck laws. It reminds you to look at, at will or severance agreements. And so from a letter perspective, it does a pretty good job. But what it doesn't do is ask you if you have the documentation leading up to the termination. It doesn't tell you that you shouldn't just send this as an email, that you should have a conversation. So yes, it spits out the letter, but you have to have the knowledge of how to actually execute on the termination appropriately and legally. Okay, last one. This is a good example of maybe an expert level HR person, but they're going through something for the first time, something really big, which would be a merger. So they are going to ask ChatGPT, how do they go about restructuring a team of 20 while keeping morale high after that merger? Of course, as usual, ChatGPT spits out some pretty good information, but there is a lot lacking here in terms of actual execution. It can give you the framework, but it doesn't tell you how to have these conversations. My first question with a merger is, how are sentiments going into it? What do employees know? How are they feeling? Are we up against a pretty hard road here when we start to restructure? Or is everybody on board and excited about this? Because that changes everything. And so what I always say about AI is that you can start with AI. It can give you a framework, it can give you a list, but what it will not replace is your judgment. And in something like a merger where you've got a lot of moving parts and you have a lot of people involved, that judgment and the way you handle it is going to absolutely make or break the situation. So yes, AI is a tool. It's a wonderful tool. We use it every day. It should be used. But here's the thing. AI is a great place to start. It can draft emails, job descriptions, templates for you. It can create frameworks or checklists, all of those things. but it cannot help you execute. The biggest issue in a small business is the soft skills. The HR manager has to have the soft skills to be able to navigate some of these situations. We are dealing with nuance. We are missing context sometimes. We are handling consequences and we are dealing with people's livelihood. And for that human experience that they are having inside of their workplace, you need a human HR manager to navigate that for you.